God is saying to you. Close your eyes for a single breath and imagine a window. Not the kind you clean once a season and forget about, but the kind that sits at the heart of a house. A pane you look through to know what's happening outside and a pane others look through to understand you. Now open your eyes and feel that image settle where your own eyes live. Archangel Michael leans in at that threshold and speaks like a steadying friend. Your eyes are sacred windows. It sounds poetic, but there is grit beneath the poetry. The way you look, how often you blink, what you allow your gaze to rest on. These are spiritual acts as much as physical. This message is an invitation to take care of those windows and to receive what they have to show you. Because in the rush before revelation, your eyes will often be the first to understand what your ears and your heart have not yet learned to register. There is something holy about the ordinary mechanics of sight. You wake, the light changes in the room, and your eyes navigate memory and possibility in the space between one blink and the next. But in a world that moves faster than our ability to integrate, our eyes get tired. They squint at screens, strain under poor lighting, weep in secret, or harden into an armor that keeps people out. Archangel Michael's voice asks you to notice the small moments. The tiny relief when a sunbeam crosses the floor. The steadying of your gaze when a child toddles toward you. The softening when you meet the look of a friend who needs more than words. These are holy. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Mira. She worked at a hospital and had spent 2 decades squinting into monitors, reading charts at midnight, and driving home with a fluorescent after image clinging to her vision. One winter, she began waking with a heaviness behind her eyes and a sense that life had gone slightly out of focus. Not catastrophic, but enough to make her wonder whether she had misread a schedule or misheard a conversation. She thought it was exhaustion until one morning she misread a medicine label. That scare sent her to an ophthalmologist who found nothing catastrophic, but did find that small habits, late nights, poor hydration, and staring at screens without breaks had accumulated into chronic strain. He taught her a simple routine, the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds, regular eye checks, and small nutritional adjustments. But the doctor also told her something less medical and more human. That she needed to practice soft looking. A daily minute in which she purposefully softened her gaze and let tears come, not out of sadness, but as a reset. Mara did the medical steps, but she also began to sit on her small apartment step at dusk and watch the neighborhood lights awaken, allowing her eyes to rest in ordinary beauty. Over months, clear vision came back in ways she could measure on charts. But deeper than that, her relationships regained a tone she'd been losing. More patience, more presence. Archangel Michael's message is woven into that story. Care for your eyes, yes, but also receive what they will give when you slow down enough to look. Practical care matters. The small daily habits that preserve the miracle of sight. The obvious things: get regular eye exams, wear sunglasses when the sun is intense, ensure your workspace has good lighting, and seek medical help if you experience sudden changes in vision, pain, flashes, or an increase in floaters. But the practical is also spiritual. Hydration is not merely about preventing dry eyes. It is a ritual of tending. Drinking water becomes an act of watering a garden that nourishes your gaze. Sleep is not merely for dark circles. It is the nightly recalibration that allows your visual world to reassemble. Nutrition. Foods rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, vitamin A, and antioxidants supports the biology of your eyes. And taking that nourishment is an act of respect for your body's capacity to perceive the world. Yet, the message Archangel Michael carries goes beyond a checklist. He calls you to cultivate a sacred gaze. What does that mean? Start with loving kindness toward your own eyes. You may not have noticed that you scold your reflection when your eyes look tired. You look old, you might think, or you look exhausted. Those narratives constrict the muscles of vision and the heart that sees. Try this small practice each morning. Place your palms over your closed eyes. Breathe for 5 slow counts and whisper to your face, "May these windows be blessed today." It sounds simple because it is. The act of blessing your own sight is a reorientation away from criticism and toward gratitude. It rewrites the interior scripts and conditions your mind to treat sight as a conduit for compassion rather than judgment. We need to speak plainly about screens because your visual life is now threaded with blue light in small types. The 20-20-20 rule truly helps. On top of that, dim the brightness when you can. Introduce breaks of soft focus where you look out a window at something natural and try an evening screen fast at least 30 minutes before sleep. The mental discipline of turning a phone face down is in many ways spiritual. You are choosing to protect the temple of your interior life. Consider also the posture of your body. When you slouch toward a screen, your neck compresses, your shoulders rise, and your eyes strain to compensate. Sitting upright with shoulders softened, chest open, and screen slightly below eye level creates an anatomical lift that the eyes thank you for in small cumulative ways. But the eyes are not engines only. They are a language you use to give and receive care. The way you look at someone can heal or harm. A harsh glance sharpens shame. A soft look invites belonging. The Bible and many spiritual traditions speak of the gaze as more than sight. It is a form of blessing or cursing. Archangel Michael's message returns us to that ancient wisdom with a modern application. Practice the courageous kindness of looking at people with presence. In everyday life, this looks like meeting a friend's gaze and holding it just long enough to say without words, "I am with you." It looks like catching the eye of a cashier and not merely reading their name, but reading their humanity. Your gaze has the power to lift someone who feels invisible. It costs nothing and yet it returns the dignity of being seen. There is another dimension to the sacredness of the eyes. Tears. Tears clean and recalibrate. They can be tender and holy. When you let yourself weep over loss, over beauty, or over the small accumulating griefs, you are not only unburdening your heart, you are tending a physiological mechanism that flushes the ocular surface and resets the nervous system. Some cultures have rituals for tears, spaces where crying is permitted as a kind of spiritual washing. If you've been taught to hide tears, practice letting them come in safe spaces. That act is a healing that is both human and holy. The message also invites you to pay attention to the quiet moments that come just before revelation. There is a hush, an undercurrent, a narrowing of attention when something is about to make itself known. Maybe you will notice it as a clarity of color when you're washing the dishes, or as a sudden catch in your throat when a memory arrives, or as a face in the crowd that makes your throat correspond to a word you haven't yet spoken. Archangel Michael says, the eyes are often the first to register these moments. A subtle brightness, a glint, a widening. Train yourself to recognize these pre-revelatory sensations. When you feel them, pause. Don't rush to interpret. Breathe, ground, and let the moment grow. Often, the revelation arrives as a sequence of small illuminations rather than a single dramatic flash. That's the gentle pattern of many spiritual insights. They come as incremental light. If your vision is clouded not only by biology but by sorrow or fear, consider a simple guided practice to help both the eyes and the soul. Sit in a comfortable chair with soft lighting. Close your eyes and place your hands over them, flattening your fingertips gently on the bridge of your nose. Breathe slowly in 4 counts, then out in 6, 3 times. Visualize a small cool blue light at the center of your forehead that widens to a soft halo as you breathe. Imagine that halo traveling gently into your eyes, washing them with cool peace. When you open your eyes, let them rest on a small object of beauty, a leaf, a photograph, a candle. Hold your gaze softly for 30 seconds. Repeat this practice daily for a week and notice how your inner steadiness grows. This is not a clinical treatment. It is a reconditioning of your sensory attention that invites clarity and calm. Physical health and spiritual readiness walk hand in hand. If you wear glasses or contacts, treat them as sacred tools. Clean them diligently. If your contact lens routine has become lazy, get back to discipline. Don't sleep in lenses if your practitioner warns you against it. If your prescription needs updating, schedule the visit. These are practical acts of care that also say in a humble way, my vision matters to me. I will not neglect it. And if you notice troubling symptoms, sharp sudden pain, flashes of light, sudden loss of vision, or a curtain effect across your sight, seek emergency medical attention. Archangel Michael's caution is not spiritual alarmism. It is a call to use the practical resources available because the stewardship of sight includes knowing when to call a trained helper. The eyes also reveal what stories you are telling yourself. People who have been through trauma may find their gaze avoids others or alternately flares with suspicion. You can use your vision as a barometer for inner narratives. When you notice your gaze clamping shut, ask, what story am I telling myself now? You might find the story is something like I am not safe or I am not worth attention. When you spot a story like that, speak the truth to it. I am safe in this moment or I am worthy of being seen. Practice these corrective phrases while looking gently at your reflection. Over time, your eyes will not only see more clearly outwardly, but will begin to reflect inner truth with steadier light. Imagine a season of vision that doesn't crash into your life like a thunderclap, but arrives with the quiet persistence of dawn. This is not the spectacle of sudden miracles or dramatic reversals. It is the slow certain revelation that builds from one luminous moment to the next until you realize you are seeing differently. One day you notice a flower's color so vivid it feels freshly invented. Another day a long familiar conversation reveals a tension you once shouldered as guilt but now recognize as a pattern that is not yours to carry. A sunrise catches you off guard, striking like a personal revelation that something inside you has shifted. These small awakenings are not random. They are the scaffolding of a larger transformation, a gentle architecture of light that steadies you for what's next. Such clarity is rarely accidental. It germinates in the humble practical disciplines that keep both body and spirit ready. The groundwork may look ordinary, consistent, nourishing sleep that lets the mind untangle. Drinking water throughout the day so the body hums without strain. Scheduling medical checkups you've delayed. Softening the muscles around your eyes and allowing them to rest instead of tightening against every screen. These simple acts of care are the quiet companions of revelation, preparing you to receive a vision that is both physical and spiritual. Archangel Michael whispers that when these tangible practices are braided with a deliberate spiritual life, the new sight will rise like spring, subtle at first, then unstoppable. It isn't a single shout of green, but the patient unfurling of leaves, the gradual warming of soil, the steady brightening of the horizon. To walk in that unfolding, begin to honor small habits as sacred. Blink often, letting tears of protection wash the eyes naturally. Step away from screens every hour to greet the wider world. Adjust lamps and curtains so your eyes aren't at war with glare. Feed your vision with leafy greens, citrus, and clean water. Guard your eyes with proper eyewear when sun, wind, or work demands it. And keep a standing date with an eye care professional at least every 2 years or sooner if guidance suggests. Yet clarity is not only about optics. It is about how you meet the world. Each morning, bless your own gaze before you look at a single screen. Whisper gratitude for eyes that can still notice wonder throughout the day. Offer a steady glance of kindness to a stranger, a coworker, a loved one, so your sight becomes a channel of grace. And at night, close your eyes and recall 3 things you witnessed that were undeniably beautiful or true. A child's laughter, a patch of sky, a quiet moment of honesty. These nightly remembrances stitch the physical and the spiritual into a seamless life of sharper, gentler sight. This is the prophecy, not spectacle, but accumulation, not fireworks, but the steady glow that teaches you to see the sacred woven into the ordinary. Keep tending to the small practices, and clarity will find you. Slow as dawn, sure as spring, radiant as light on water. Consider this. Seeing can become a sacred act when it is shared. Imagine gathering your household or close friends once a week for a gentle ritual of attention. A brief circle where each person offers one thing they noticed that sparked joy and one thing that stirred concern. 5 unhurried minutes is enough. A child might speak of a rainbow on the walk to school. A teenager might confess the uneasy look in a classmate's eyes. An adult might name the color of the sky after a sudden rain. In that simple exchange, everyone practices the art of noticing and learns that our eyes are not just for private consumption but for collective care. Such a practice does more than trade stories. It trains the soul. Children discover that their observations carry weight, that their quiet noticing is a contribution to the family's understanding of the world. Adults remember that wonder is not trivial, and that paying attention to small sorrows can alert a community before wounds deepen. Over time, these weekly sight gatherings weave a fabric of trust and shared vigilance. They become a rhythm where joy is celebrated and concerns are met with prayer, problem-solving, or simple presence. This communal act of seeing can grow beyond the household. A book club might begin each meeting by sharing one striking image from the week. A neighborhood group could open with a moment of visual gratitude before discussing practical concerns. Even in a workplace, a quick round of what caught your eye today can soften hierarchies and remind everyone that they inhabit the same living world. In spaces where people feel unseen or overlooked, the offering of true attention can be quietly revolutionary. When you turn your gaze outward as a ministry of presence, you invite others to believe their lives are worth witnessing. Your attentive look says, "I see you and you matter." Over time, this shared discipline teaches that vision is not merely a private sense, but a communal gift. It transforms ordinary eyesight into an act of love. Eyes become instruments of blessing, seeing becomes a way to heal. Move gently through the unfolding of clarity. Because lasting vision rarely breaks in with a single blinding flash. More often it arrives as a quiet sequence of confirmations. Moments so subtle you might miss them if you hurry past. A sudden ease in a conversation that once knotted your chest. A morning where the sky seemed sharper as if the colors were freshly mixed just for you. A sentence in a book that lands like an answer you didn't know you were asking. These fragments are the slow architecture of revelation, and each deserves your full attention. Treat these glimpses as treasures to be gathered. Jot them down in a notebook or on the Notes app in your phone. Name them aloud to a trusted friend or whisper them in prayer at the end of the day. Celebration matters even when the moment seems small. Gratitude has a way of widening perception. Each thank you becomes another set of open windows, letting in light you might have overlooked. When someone meets your eyes with unexpected kindness, breathe in that gift and speak your thanks silently or aloud. Such tiny acknowledgments teach your heart to expect goodness and make you more alert to the next shimmer of truth. Remember, this journey toward clearer vision is not a race toward spiritual perfection. It is a steady companionship of body, soul, and habit. Care for your eyes with practical wisdom. Rest them from screens. Nourish them with sleep and wholesome food. Schedule the checkups that keep them healthy. Care for your spirit with equal intention, moments of silence, gentle prayer, the daily choice to see others with compassion. These simple acts create a meeting place between your effort and God's grace. Trust that the promise of clearer sight, often spoken through Archangel Michael's image of protection and guidance, is not an urgent demand, but a patient assurance. As you keep tending both the physical and the spiritual, the larger revelation will not rush or delay. It will arrive exactly when it is meant to, unfolding like dawn that brightens the world minute by minute until the landscape is unmistakably new. Let us pray now together. Archangel Michael, guardian of thresholds and defender of clarity. We call upon you with reverence and trust. Stand guard at the windows of our lives, both seen and unseen, shielding us from distortions that cloud perception and from illusions that lead astray. Bless the eyes before us, their health, their steadiness, their resilience, and their capacity to see truth clearly, even when surrounded by shadows. Strengthen not only our physical sight but also the deeper vision of our hearts, that we may discern what is real, what is noble, and what is born of divine light. Teach us to care for the gift of sight with wisdom and discipline. Remind us to rest when our bodies grow weary, to drink deeply of living water that restores, to nourish ourselves so that strength may flow through every part of us. Encourage us to seek expert care and healing when it is needed, to guard our eyes from harm and to honor this vessel of vision as a sacred trust. At the same time, guide us in cultivating the inner practices that make seeing holy, softening our gaze so that it is never harsh, blessing our own faces so that we learn to see ourselves with kindness, and meeting the faces of others with presence, respect, and compassion. Send gentle restoration to those whose vision has been clouded by exhaustion, sorrow, or injury. To those who weep in hidden places, wipe their tears and bring clarity of perspective. To those who strain under the weight of confusion or despair, lighten their sight so they may see hope waiting just beyond the haze. To those who long to behold beauty again, open wide their vision to notice the small illumination scattered daily by heaven, the sunlight falling through leaves, the glance of a stranger offering kindness, the ripples of mercy that widen like circles in a pond until clarity takes hold. Open our eyes not only to what is obvious, but also to the subtle signals, the divine hints, and the quiet confirmations that guide our journeys. Let us not be blind to opportunities hidden in plain view, nor to the blessings disguised as ordinary moments. Help us to see not just with eyes of flesh, but with eyes of spirit, perceiving the eternal significance behind passing events. May our sight become a channel of compassion, an instrument of blessing, and an avenue for revelation. Train our eyes to look with tenderness upon those who suffer, to recognize the dignity of every soul we encounter, and to see in each face the reflection of the divine. Let us gaze upon creation not with greed or indifference, but with gratitude and awe. Transform the way we see so that each glance becomes an act of prayer, each observation a step into understanding, and each moment of clarity a doorway into deeper love. And when the time comes that our physical sight dims with age or weakness, let the eyes of our hearts grow brighter still. Let us never lose the ability to see what truly matters. The love that binds, the truth that frees, the light that never fades. Keep us steady, vigilant, and compassionate in seeing that our vision may always honor the Creator who gave it. Amen. If this message has touched your heart and stirred something deep within you, take a moment to commit to clarity and care by typing "I see" in the comments. Let this be more than a word. Let it be a declaration that you are ready to honor the sacred windows of your life, your eyes, your mind, your perception. Today, choose one small but intentional practice to nurture your vision. Perhaps it is stepping away from screens for 20 minutes each day, allowing your eyes to rest and your thoughts to settle. Perhaps it is scheduling that long overdue eye exam, a simple act of stewardship for the body God entrusted to you. Or maybe it is taking 5 minutes each morning to soften your gaze to notice the subtle movements of light, the gentle shifts in color, and the hidden details that often go unnoticed. These small rituals are not trivial. They are invitations to see your world and your life with fresh awareness. If this message resonates, hit the like button to honor the importance of care and attention, and share it with someone who may need permission to slow down, to breathe, and to reconnect with their own sense of sight, both physical and spiritual. Subscribe and turn on notifications to receive more guidance that blends practical care with spiritual insight, helping you cultivate awareness, patience, and wisdom. Every comment, every action, every small step you take toward honoring your vision strengthens the pathway toward a season of true sight. Remember the little lights you notice each day. A reflection in a window, a flicker of sunlight on leaves, a gentle glow from a candle are not small. They are the beginnings of revelation, the markers of a life opening to clarity and insight. Your eyes are sacred windows, and the care you give them mirrors the care you give your soul and your perspective. If you feel moved to help us continue spreading these messages of guidance, hope, and practical wisdom, consider supporting us through a super thanks of up to $20. Your support allows more hearts to awaken, more eyes to open, and more people to step into seasons of clarity, vision, and divine insight. Take this moment to see, truly see, and allow your vision to guide your life with purpose and grace. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to reach 10,000 divine subscribers very soon. Please share this video to your loved ones. Type Amen to affirm. Thanks for watching.